All right, the other stream should be up and running. You can take that off for now. Let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for July 24th, 2020. Coming into today, we did get this break of this support that we previously identified. If we break that, we can be bearish on the next setup. So what am I looking for now as a potential opportunity to initiate shorts is a rally back up to the 20 MA. We put in some kind of pivot and then potentially roll over. Okay. Now, even with a bearish bias, not necessarily saying that the market top is in or that we're going to have another big move like we had in March. Okay. It's just that it looks like the market wants to come in. Okay. But looking at this trend that we have preceding what may be a double top here on the Qs is not the kind of trend that is going to give it up easily. So I do think we could get the sell set up. We could roll over. We could, in the days to come, make some lower lows. But I'm not really expecting us to get a big, dramatic fall. Now, things could change. World events could happen. Anything like that definitely could happen. Really what it is on the hourly here, we're looking like we want to trend lower. That trend lower could be for hours and days because that's what the time frame that we're seeing it on as the hourly. So in the way that the hourly points us in the direction for the next hours and days, right? And the daily points us in the direction of the next days and weeks, right? Of what's to come. You know, we're seeing this kind of roll over on the smaller time frame. So we may get this pullback here for the next days, maybe through next week, right? So I will be bearish going into Monday, and we'll see what happens. Really waiting for us to kind of see what that next rally is made of, and that will, I think, be very telling. You know, and that's been the kind of thing that has really kind of kept us from being too bearish too early, right? Like we got this big drop here, right? Okay, what does the next rally look like? Next rally kind of just kept going, right? We rallied and then we are already back up at the top. We never really put in the pivot and rolled over. Okay, and that's been the case on each of kind of these moves lower, right? So here kind of was supposed to be the telling point where maybe we get this lower high and we roll over, and we quickly failed on that and then proceeded to run up, right? So we're going to need to see what that next sell setup has in store for us, all right? But going to be bearish going into Monday, and we'll see, okay? Looking for kind of that next pivot here on the hourly to give us kind of some indication here. Is there going to be follow through? Because we've definitely broken the uptrend here on the hourly. Okay, are we really going to get a downtrend this time? All right, so that's what we'll be looking for next week. All right, let's go over today's plays here. A nice call from Sammy here on the INTC, large gap into support here, and sold off pretty hard right at the open. So he gave the numbers on this to be played long. That was pretty nice. If you were able to take advantage of that. My play, the only play called today was this TSM. TSM, we had a nice gap. Someone told me afterwards that the news was that, you know, that the Intel issues were to their benefit somehow. So, you know, I wasn't really too concerned about what the news was. It was all about the intraday pattern. I don't really love this gap. It is an ADR, so the gap is a little bit harder to judge because it seems it gaps pretty much every day. But what we did get was a really nice intraday pattern here. Okay, so we got this kind of called right here in the first 30 minutes of the day. We got this pullback after this nice run up here, pullback, and then we start to base out sideways. So it was over this base. Okay, so that was the call there. I know I have my platform set to East Coast time, but I'm on Pacific time. So that would be right here. Okay, over 74.82. And then stop 74.18. So about a 65 cent stop. Okay, looking for 76, basically new highs, and then we'll see what else we can get. Now, the reason for the last piece coming out, and that's 7630 was where the last trail was. I know it only says trail TSM to 30 that on the very last corridor there, is because there was really no place to put the stop. Okay, so we had this nice run up, and you can see here on the 5 minute, it was just 5 minute after bar, and there was really no pivot to really work with. And I like to use the hourly to trail the runner, but we're looking at just this big bar here. The next bar hasn't even started forming, so because it already reached a little more than 3 Rs on the runner, and we didn't have any kind of place to trail it up. That's why I took the whole thing and didn't stick with it. Now that always could be the case that it takes us out and then it shoots right back up and keeps on going or something like this. That's definitely the downside to just go ahead and take the last piece before it's actually reached a final target. But we're also kind of at all-time highs, so I don't really have a reference point either to really look for as the next resistance area. So it's kind of all those things considered. Reward to risk not really in my favor now because I have money on the table and then my stop's still down here. Now I could have brought it up, but there was nothing really pivot wise I could use, so that's why we just took the whole thing. Ended up being a good exit, so I'm glad that we did take it. But it was really all about the intraday pattern, okay? Because really I see this conviction here, the volume. Look at the open here, the conviction there, telling me that there's a lot of people looking at this. There's a lot of demand for this, right? And then looking to get an entry, tight stop to join in here. So just to get that nice run up. I didn't even have it on the gaps list in the morning. So, I don't know if there was an entry, maybe like right at the open that could have been played. There actually wasn't. This is a pretty big move up to kind of chase. So I would have had to, earliest would have been like on this pullback. But I like this base a lot. This is the bleed pattern, just the bullish version. Okay. So I know some people took advantage of this TSM today with me. Glad that it worked out pretty nicely. It was a good way to kind of end the week here. So hopefully you had a nice week, and we'll be back at it on Monday. We'll see how that bearish bias plays out. The big problem here is that even though the intraday on the Qs, the smaller time frames like the hourly is starting to roll over, I mean, this is still a pretty nice uptrend in place here on the Qs. So I think that next sell setup will be really telling. Okay, have a great weekend, everyone. I will talk to you on Monday.